What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, my man? We are back from the Breeders' Cup.
That's right. Good evening, everybody watching. It's nice to be back home. I definitely enjoyed the trip. It, broke up the monotony of just sitting here every day, but also good to be home. Good to be back in studio, so to speak. So yeah, we've got a lot of exciting things I think on tap. I think this is going to be a show that can help both people that are new to the game and experienced people as well. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Breeders' Cup was, people probably wondered kind of what it was like to be there. Honestly, there was more people there than I expected to be there. I kind of felt like it'd be more like a ghost town. It was when you compare it to, we were looking at pictures of on my phone from 2015 when we were there with Pharaoh. And when you compare the difference, obviously it's night and day. I mean, before any race, before the Classic, it's like, hey, do you want to go to the rail this race? Hey, do you want to go? I mean, so it's just like, that's very much different. But I mean, you go to the paddock for some of these big races, and there was one or two deep, on the rail there watching. So it was a little busier than I thought it was. But man, I've been saying it all year. The racing just really lived up to it, and it was funny. We did our top 14 races of the Breeders' Cup, and going into the Breeders' Cup, the Classic was a can't miss best race of the year, and it just wasn't, So it's funny how that kind of faded, but everything else really was amazing.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. The Classic didn't live up to the hype, but man, all the other races, when we were ranking those horses or those races on the way home, that was really tough. It was really tough to put them in order because they were all just so good. And for the Classic to, be somewhat of a swing and a miss, man, there were so many other really good moments. And that's kind of the fun of this show as well. We're going to talk about our bets, our betting strategy, how we lay things out when we look at a card. But also we can kind of relive some of the races as well and talk about it. Be like, maybe at times it's like, hey, maybe we didn't win here, but we liked the result anyway. So yeah, this is a really fun show. For me, it was my favorite Breeders' Cup ever in terms of what happened on the track. Really, it would have been just over the top if we could have had all of our people there, But right. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It's never perfect in racing, right? But but what happened on the track was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, what people don't know is if you tuned in. And thank you to everybody that's listening to us live right now on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We did this, we did the recaps every day. And of course, Slim took over on Saturday, which was hilarious and awesome. Yeah. Did a great job and just kind of kept everyone interested and brought some guests on. But, what kind of at least made it somewhat normal was after we did these feeds, we would stay on with all the guys, Magic and bring on friends. And just it made it feel a little bit more Ryan, how we bullshit and stuff, because we're so busy at this Breeders' Cup, you have to take a step back a little bit and just kind of, have a good time. So that made it a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to, it's amazing that we get to do this in 2 more years. We found the right spots. We got some good restaurants to go to. So in 2 years, the boys will be there. We'll be there, and we're going to tear it up.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Lexington, if you guys have never been, if you're watching, you've never been, I think it's a very underrated town. I think it's a lot of fun. We had a good time this time. Not that we didn't in 2015. We did as well. But it's just like we kind of had some newer places to go, some better places to go. Our boy Aaron West gave us some recommendations as he's been there a while now. And yeah, I think it's a very underrated town. I think we're gonna have a good time. When we go back in 2 years, and who knows, maybe we'll go back for just a regular Keeneland race day in 2021 as well.
I was going to give shout outs to the, because one night we dominoed it, but 2 other nights we played today's, we actually went out and found some good spots. What was the name of the pizza place we went on Sunday?
Goodfellas? Wasn't it Goodfellas Pizza?
Yeah, that place was the shit. Like that place was. It actually was funny because the Prez from Barstool, Dave Portnoy, he was there at the Breeders' Cup as well, and he did a pizza review, kind of a redemption of that day of that restaurant, and we saw it on Sunday when we were getting around and stuff, and we're like, dude, we got to go there. We're here. Let's go. Yeah. So it was that was like, to me, that because we found that spot. We're like, dude, we got to come back here at night. This would be a hell of a time. But yeah, all right. So let's not waste any more time because we're going to talk about all 14 of the Breeders' Cup races, how we bet those, how we did, how we fared in the betting. We bet if you bought the guide, thank you very much. And followed along, you made money, but kind of go through kind of how we bet each of these races. But before we do that, what's the best thing you saw today?
Well, so I gotta give a shout out to our boy David Hill. I shouted him out it may have been a month or 2 ago now, about the Vapors, a book that he had written that I read. It was fantastic. Our boy's back with something that might be cooler, and really maybe everybody watching, I think, is going to like this. He's coming out with a new podcast, all right? And he's never done a podcast, okay? But
dude, I saw this. Isn't that cool?
Yes, November 18th. There's going to be 10 episodes, but November 18th, episodes 1 and 2 are going to drop. It's called Gamblers. And so basically what he has done is he's went around and he's followed professional gamblers in Las Vegas and get like the inside stories and kind of the stories that you were not really supposed to know, so to speak. I heard a little preview of it. It sounds wild. So make sure November 18th to check that out. Our boy David Hill back at it again. Gamblers is the name of the new podcast that's going to drop.
All right. So my plan was to do, kind of to just kind of mention, like, it's amazing to see. We got a ton of emails in of people, saying that they used the guide and they made all this money. One guy I think had a $9,000 one. One guy had a couple $2,000 one, and it's just nice. That's why we do this, to help make money. But then we had a funny story come to us today. I'm going to tell the story about the screenshot I sent you earlier today from Dr. Miranda's friend.
Oh God.
Hey, by the way, I got her permission. Okay, I had to ask to make sure. So one of our writers, and Dr. Miranda, that does does the videos with Magic. So we met up with her and some of their friends on Thursday night, right, downtown Lexington. Which, by the way, it was fun, but it was kind of crazy. But anyways, one of her friends, who I won't name names, but she's older than us. Let's just put it that way. She is like, we look over and she's like making out with a kid that can't be more than 21. I mean, 22 tops. I think he's 22. and you called him, what'd you call him? Farley Jr.?
No, I called him Young Farley. He kind of looked like a young Chris Farley, so I kept calling him Young Farley.
So fast forward, she disappears with him.
Sure.
We have no idea.
No.
We don't even know this girl, but it's humorous to you and I because we're just like people watching. Come to find out, she goes to his frat house and she has strep throat now that she got from the frat house. God knows what else she maybe got at the frat house.
Throat.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't trust a frat guy when you're 40, I don't know who you can trust. This
dude. So we went outside, right? Because it didn't feel safe inside. We went outside. We're outside of this outdoor patio type thing, and we are social distance, so that felt good, right? So, but then like this dude, he's got like you see, I got a windbreaker on right now, but it's kind of like a new age windbreaker, like a 2020 windbreaker.
He had the starter jacket on.
The guy walks up in like a starter jacket, like a Kentucky Wildcat starter jacket type shit going on. And it's just like, who the hell is this guy with like an old ass pair of shorts? And I'm like, this is freaking Chris Farley looking guy. Long hair. I mean, that's hysterical that we could talk about this on air. Because
I mean, maybe I shouldn't, but no one knows. I mean, it's I got her permission, so it was fine.
Hopefully he's watching the show tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not though. It's Thursday night. He's back at the bar.
Well, for this person that has it, the dudes wish you a speedy recovery, and and hopefully don't make out with any more, amongst other things, with any more frat boys in downtown Lexington. All right, let's get to the business here.
Seems like a bad idea. Yeah.
There's nothing good that comes from that, but
no, I saw it and I'm like, what?
I don't even know her. I didn't know her name, and even me was like, damn, someone should stop her. Like, that's not a good idea.
I didn't think about that, but I was just like, what the hell's going on? Like, where am I right now? All
right. Today's show, we're going to recap 37th Annual Breeders' Cup World Championships, including how our betting and wagering strategies fared for the 2 days. Let's go.
I can't believe we had permission to tell that on.
I know. I asked. I wasn't gonna ask. I wasn't gonna mention it unless she said okay, and she did. And she's like, "That's great." So I'm like, "Hell yeah, that's the best." Because it's more than the best thing I saw today. It's the best thing I saw all year. So.
Oh my god, that was. Yeah.
Somehow they found his picture. So on the Snapchat that they sent to her, it was like a cutout picture of this guy's face, and something about the frat house or something. So it's just amazing.
That was an amazing night.
Props to her. I forgot her name, but anyway.
I forgot. Yeah, most everything that night.
All right. So let's start with Friday. I'll keep this thing off. Share my screen here. There we go.
Oh, what a country.
What a country. There we go. Can you see the golden pal and all that? Okay.
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. The 37th Annual Breeders' Cup World Championships are in the books. It was a one like any other. We will never see one quite like this ever again. But the racing really lived up to the hype, and we knew that there was opportunities here to bet, and we want to kind of go through each race, talk about each race, kind of what just overall thoughts. But also, if you bought the Racing Dudes Inside Track to the Wager Guide, if you didn't buy it, you can also go check this out on the products page right now. You can review it. But you and I did a section, an article in the guide, where we took a stab. We basically had a $500-ish bankroll and up for the 2 days. And we basically just came up with bets, what the races that we liked, the races we didn't like. And so we bet all of them and we really bet them. So everybody wants to ask, we really bet them. Thank goodness for Kentucky, right? And, so we actually played these exactly how they were on the guide and kind of thankfully had a huge Saturday, which was awesome. So we're going to go through our betting strategies, how we looked at it. Maybe it'll help you as you're making your bets for, just any race or maybe for the Breeders' Cup next year, because there's so much opportunity in these Breeders' Cup races to make money. So let's kick it off with on Friday, the Juvenile Turf Sprint. This was the first race of the day in Golden Pal. We knew this was one of our bigger win bets of the 2 days. We knew this horse was going to be tough to beat, and damn was he.
Yeah, so two things I'll say before I go on. One, we're not doing this to brag on the guide, okay? We're doing this for two reasons. One, to recap the Breeders' Cup, and two, to help you kind of – so racing is 50% handicapping and 50% betting strategy. So we've never really done a podcast to cover betting strategy in depth like this one. So it's really take the betting strategy, kind of take the ideas, how we came about this, how we put it together, and apply that to your betting and your betting plan. And it kind of take, maybe you agree with us on some stuff. Maybe you haven't thought of it that way. And so, but just kind of get some tips for the future when you start to plan on betting a race card. So we'll start with the 6th race here, like you said, with Golden Pal. So basically the debate Jared and I had, okay, we are very confident Golden Pal's going to win. We know he's going to probably be even money. He ended up going off of 4 to 5, but we knew he'd be right around there. So did we play him to win, or do we try to put him on top and get creative underneath with some plays? And basically what happened was we decided that, yes, while playing him on top and getting some underneath horses with him would be the most profitable, we weren't real confident in the underneath horses. So we just decided, look, we don't want to play this race, him win the race, and we not make any money, which is what would have happened if we would have played exactas and tries, because we didn't have Cohen. We had the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place horses. So how mad would we have been?
I think we may have got to Cohen because I had Cohen on my top 4, but we wouldn't have got to the 3rd horse. There's no way. And the exacta, frankly, even if we played Cohen, the exacta paid $17.
Yeah.
So it's not like we knew that it's one of those things that this was our best bet of the day on Friday. Our best bet of the day on Saturday was Monomoy, and we did an even bigger bet that on her. The last thing we wanted to do was to be so right about the horse and still not make money. Because if Golden Pal rolls like he does and we miss the try or the exacta, it's like, what do you have to show for your handicapping? Yeah, I get it. Betting, even money horses or 4 to 5 horses isn't sexy, but it's a cash ticket. We bet 40 or bet 50. We made $40 and we had a bankroll to kind of go on through the rest of the day.
So the other thing is, and you kind of started to touch on it, the big thing here was the determining factor. It's like, okay, we could cash here, make 40 or $50 right off the bat. And then in the 7th and in the 9th, we've got some crazy things we want to do. If Golden Pal wins, those bets are basically free, right? Because you've built up that bankroll. So that was what we did. And honestly, and the last thing we're going to do is like, okay, did we regret what we did here? I don't have any regrets. I think it was the right amount. I mean, obviously hindsight is always 2020. You think, well, why didn't we bet more? You're always going to feel that way when they win. But really, I think we bet the right amount here. I think it was a really good wager to start off the 14 races.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you say, of course you'd want to bet more, but considering, we knew that Saturday's card was where you're going to make most of your money. And so we wanted to basically try to build somewhat of a bankroll and get lucky with one of the tries in the other races on Friday. And so, $50 seemed like the right play. Plus, when you're dealing with juveniles, you just never know. And to me, with Monomoy was a lot safer. So to say 100 on him would have been dicey, to say the least. But, he was awesome. This horse is going to be a beast. I mean, if anything under 6 furlongs for this horse, I don't know a horse, maybe in the world, that can touch this horse. This horse is freaking good, and I say that because he has been around the world, and it's damn near been unbeatable in those in those places too. So, all right, let's move on to the next race here, the Juvenile Turf. Now, this one effed us all in many angles because in the pick fours, anything we played, this horse just came, And this started a trend for really both days, but as when it comes to the tries of one horse just completely screwing up, the way we played, because we had Battleground on top, we had Seal Away, we had, in our creative trifecta wheel there, we had Seal Away and Battleground on top with several underneath, Out of Door, kind of screwed up that as well on the bottom half, but Battleground on the, we had Seal Away, we had Cadillac, we were all over this race. We just couldn't quite get it home. And we knew that would be tough. That's why we only invested $22 on the race. Yeah,
exactly. The last part is the big thing. We kind of said to ourselves, I think there's going to be some massive value here. So we've got to take a couple shots. But at the same time, we don't want to invest too much here because we weren't real strong with our plays. Like, even though, we had Battleground, we had Seal Away on top, Battleground got second, but we weren't like overly confident. So we thought that, we kind of set out to the $15 to $25 range with this one. I don't have a lot of regrets. In the end, it's poor handicapping, and that happens sometimes, and believe me, we're not going to not admit that it was poor handicapping. I didn't really feel like we got that close on this one. I kind of at the end was like, well, sure, we had Battleground. We didn't have the first place horse. We didn't have the third place horse. Poor handicapping, lost the $22 here, still up 18 and move on to the next race.
Right. I mean, the try for 50 cents paid $1,100. So, I mean, obviously this result was difficult to get to, and especially we could have been all over. We could have wheeled Battledore in every spot. We could have included Alidor in the third spot. I don't think we would have gotten to Fire at Will. I mean, Ricardo Santana on the turf. I just don't. I would never have. It's a $62 horse. We wouldn't have got there.
We may, if the horse finishes second or third and Battleground wins, then I might be a little sick about it, right? Because it's like maybe we could have played that horse in second and third, but when that horse won, it's just like we never considered it. We didn't handicap it right. You just move on.
Right. All right. Let's get to race 8 on Friday, the Juvenile Fillies. This one was obviously won by Vaquist, which was a really nice performance. Daughter of Nyquist, which was, it was kind of cool to see. This one was hard to stomach because we really liked Simply Ravishing. We knew this one was tough because we were right. We knew Princess Nora was a bad favorite, and we were very steadfast on playing against her. And we thought the horse that could beat her was Simply Ravishing. And just from the start, she misses the break. And really, she ran a hell of a race. I know she finished 4th, just got nosed out. But that was, is Vaquist by 2, and then it was just nose. So it's right there. I mean, this one was tough because we knew, right, from McPeak that their plan was she draws a rail to go get her in the first position when they hit the first turn, and then the rest is, see what happens. And you knew when they hit the first turn and she's in 5th, you're just like, well, shit. I mean, there's not a lot we can do about that. And, she ran hard down the stretch and made a little bit of a run, but I don't really. This one is one of those that I have no regrets on. I mean, Vaquist, I knew, like, I don't know. None of these horses that beat her were out of the question. It's just we took a stab on Simply Ravishing, and we were wrong. Just bad luck.
Yeah, this one, the handicapping I think was fine. The luck was bad, and that is a very frustrating thing. I said in the last race I wasn't frustrated at all. Hey, when you don't handicap it right, you're not going to win. But this one, I was really frustrated for a couple of reasons. Okay, so we debated because we were against Princess Nora completely. So we debated, okay, should we try to get an exacta or try? And our opinions for 3 or 4 horses, they weren't just real strong. And then it's a 7-horse field. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if it's going to pay enough because we'd probably play like the base wagers of maybe a 50-cent try or maybe $1 or $2.
But even the try paid,
that's what I was getting at.
$110 or something.
Say we play the try and we hit it. The 50-cent try paid $58.10. The 50-cent try paid $58.10. So we played it right. That there was no really value and that's without Princess Nora or Simply Ravishing hitting the top 3 at paid $58.10.
Right. I know.
So there was no value in the exotics really, unless you played a big heavy opinion. We didn't have it. So really, Simply Ravishing goes off at 5-2. If you win this $20 win wager, you make $70. That would have been a great wager. And listen, you never know what would have happened, but if she gets her trip, I think we're looking pretty good to cash that. So really, I think we made the right wager. I will even go as far as say I think we wagered on the right horse. We wagered against a favorite that we knew was in trouble, and it just didn't work out. And that is horse racing in a nutshell. But I don't regret anything about that one.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you said, $70, and I mean, shit. Even if we would have been all over this try, we wouldn't have cashed that much more if we would have played $1. So it's really hard to I think we took a stab on the right horse. This was a race that we knew wasn't going to provide a lot of value in the exotics just because there was a lot of options that we felt, because you look $6.60, $4, $5.80, $2.40, $1.90. Those were your top 5 finishers in the race, So It's hard to kind of find value there, no matter what order they're running.
Well, and you look at it. Okay, so I meant $50 profit, $70 back. So it would have been a $50 profit. So we were up $22 going into that, right? So if she wins, we're up $72 going in the last 2 races on Friday. Instead, she loses and we're down $2. So that's a huge swing right there. That was the swing that pretty much cost us this day. So anyway, we can go on to the ninth.
All right, let's go to the ninth. And this one was
maybe
the most frustrating
yep.
of the 2 days. And I'm glad you said that because I totally agree. Now, this was one, just to kind of clarify the way we kind of worked this out, is him and Halter and I going back and forth and handicapped this all day on, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. And this is a race that we just got to, and we're like, you know what? Here's the budget. Jared, you just get creative with some of these crazy wheel bets. And, because, I'm pretty good at doing that. And it was just frustrating because we were all over it. We were all over this race. We just, Aunt Pearl wins. And I'll say that. Aunt Pearl was awesome, right? Aunt Pearl was very impressive. It was one of like 1,000 Brad Cox winners on the 2 days. Aunt Pearl was very good. Mother Earth screwed up everything. We had Miss Amulet, we had Campanelli, we had Plum Ali, we had them all. We had Aunt Pearl on the top spot. We had that try for $1. The try did pay $416 for 50 cents. We had a $1 try. So even if you adjust that to say, well, it wouldn't have paid $8.50 or whatever, $8.30, it still would have paid $400 or $500 probably with Mother Earth out of there. With Aunt Pearl, Miss Amulet, and Campanelli, and we were just so close. And and that was a trend too, with one horse sneaking up and kind of ruining our tickets for the 2 days.
Yeah, with all of our tries, it's just like, oh my gosh, because we had a good Breeders' Cup. It could have been through the roof if we just get this one home, just this one, and we'll cover some other ones that we barely missed a little later. This one was really, 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 really frustrating. Because Aunt Pearl won so easy, we weren't even having to watch the winner. And it's just like, come on, somebody get up there. And, I was watching Miss Amulet. And I thought, oh, yeah, she's running good.
She ran good.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, where did Mother Earth come from? This was a killer. This was definitely a killer. And again, with this one, we thought, okay, we have some stronger opinions. You really like Campanelli. I really liked Plum Alley. Then we thought, yeah, Aunt Pearl could definitely wire it. So we really had stronger opinions here, which is why we kind of dedicated more bankroll in this 9th race than we did in the 7th race when we played some tri wheels. We really thought, okay, A, it's going to pay a lot, huge field. There's going to be some long shots come in, and B, we have a lot better feel for this race, and that both turned out to be true. The feel for the race, we were right there. We're in the 7th race. We weren't even close. So again, I don't really regret anything we did here. Just got beat.
It's easy to say now, but I have a little regrets, structure. We obviously played these picks based on how we felt about the race. I should have got more creative in that, because it's Aiden O'Brien, Mother Earth at that price. I should have I think there's a situation there that I could have added her instead of, say, like a Royal Approval or something. So that's a little frustrating because I used Royal Approval in my top 4 and she was not good. Had I got, been like, I like Aiden here and used Mother Earth, we would have had that. We would have hit that. But it's easy to say that. And like you said, we were dead on. Like, we knew this race had potential. It paid a ton of money for the try, $416 for the 50 cents. So we were all over it. We just got unlucky. Yeah. We did have a question from Jared Clemens. How often do you guys play the try on BC days? Do you just pick your spots, do it a couple races, or trying to play the most of them?
So what you can do is go download the guide. It's free, and you can see exactly what we did. And if you listen to the show, you'll hear exactly why we do everything that we did. So yeah. I would just pay attention to the show, or you could go read the guide because we have race-by-race analysis of kind of why we did what we did. And that's why we're doing the show, to give you an idea of, okay, you have a strong opinion, you're not sure underneath, play that strong opinion to win, and so on and so forth, like we've been doing race by race.
All right, let's move to the final one on Friday, the Juvenile. And this one, we went into this one. Jackie's Warrior was a strong favorite there, and just lost. Obviously, finished 4th. Essential Quality was unbelievable, and paid a good price too. This one is one of those. It's like we knew the win bet was the play here because there's no, I mean, the exacta paid $2.99 for $1. The 50-cent try paid $1,900. I mean, we never in a million years would have had Hot Rod Charlie and Keep Me in Mind in the second and third spot. Central Quality obviously made sense on top, but we wouldn't have had those two. So it's kind of pointless to even to discuss that. But as far as the win bet, how did you feel? I kind of have some regrets. Obviously, Jackie's Warrior came into the race, seemingly hard to beat, but Essential Quality at that price, at that value, did offer some intrigue there that maybe we could have took advantage of.
Yep, screwed it up. Completely screwed it up. There's no doubt about it. I take full responsibility for this one. Screwed it up. Stupid bet. Obviously, again, hindsight 2020, but this was a dumb bet. It's just that simple.
I know. The reason I'm so upset is that because the same strategy we didn't use here as far as in the juvenile fillies. We tried to play a horse that could beat a favorite, and in this race we didn't do that. And Essential Quality paid $370, and just really good odds, and we would have cashed in big on that one. And golly, he was amazing. So I'm with you. I have some regrets on this one because Jackie's Warrior, he tried, but we knew pretty much on the backstretch that things are not going to go well for him and for our ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And then at the top of the stretch, I still had a little bit of hope, but you could tell he just wasn't going to kick away. It was sometimes you screw up. That's all there's to it. I screwed up on this one. I think I talked you into playing him maybe a little stronger than we should have. And this race where I screwed up, combined with the 9th race and the 8th race with bad luck, kind of ended a little bit of a dismal Friday where you kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, leaving the day. And my best advice when that happens, because trust me, on big days when we struggle like that, it's kind of hard to sleep at night sometimes, right? But I just think you've got to shake it off, right? Because even if we had a little bit of luck, that $50 win wager on Jackie's Warrior wouldn't have hurt so much. But it was kind of an all or nothing for him to win, for us to, kind of break even on that day. So it just sucked.
Let's talk a little bit about the two kind of main horses, and obviously Jackie's Warrior and the winner, Essential Quality. So let's start with Jackie's Warrior. Where do you stand with Jackie now? I mean, obviously Derby Trail seems very hard to get a thought of him being a good Derby horse now, but maybe sprinting or one turn, he might be really tough. And then obviously, what do you think of Essential Quality as he moves forward, trying to get Godolphin's first Kentucky Derby?
Well, I mean, obviously right now Essential Quality looks awfully good. And, but the thing you got to remember is it's tough to win this race and the Kentucky Derby. It's very tough. Not that it can't be done. It has been done before. Nyquist, obviously a great example, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. As far as Jackie's Warrior, the distance obviously is the obvious answer, right? I'm not sure it was all that, though. You talk about Magic threw out a stat on the day of the race that pretty much made me think, well, Jackie's Warrior might have a good shot to bounce. Yeah, a 2-year-old with a high buyer speed figure of over 100, their next starts, they usually regress a bit. And I think it was a combination.
I was really pissed when he sent that, because in my mind I was like, son of a bitch, he's right, and this horse is totally going to bounce. Yeah. It was too late to change anything. That's one of those situations that you got to be careful of when handicapping anything, but especially the Breeders' Cup. Is on paper Jackie's Warrior, right? The buyers, the speed fit, everything pointed to Jackie's Warrior. Like we talked about this with the group. It's like I can't find an angle where he gets beat, other than the fact, Magic was real big on Essential Quality because he had been on Essential Quality. He'd been on Essential Quality all year, and he just rode that. He just rode that horse. And so I think you and I were talking about this personally at the track. It's like, man, this is a bad day for buyers. Because this did not turn out. Essential Quality was, I don't know if even if Jackie's Warrior shows up, like you said, because he bounced a little bit. Essential Quality, man, I'm not sure he would have beat Essential Quality.
I don't know if I agree with that, to be real honest with you. I think Jackie's Warrior runs his best race. He wins there. It's just one of those things. But now, can Jackie's Warrior beat Essential Quality on 2 turns? I don't know about that. But I think at their best, Jackie's Warrior is still a little bit better, a little bit more talented. And, another thing that was odd is the second and third place horses. I never even would have. Listen, I'm gonna be real honest. When they were running down the stretch, I said, well, who is the 12? I was looking through my program quickly to see who is Hot Rod Charlie. Are you kidding me? Like, I made fun of that horse for a couple days. So
right.
I think it's a situation where Essential Quality showed up with a good race and maybe nobody else kind of showed up that day.
Yeah, it's, like you mentioned, I mean, Essential Quality is definitely, as we say here today, he's got to be the most appealing horse. And I certainly believe will be one of the top picks in our upcoming draft next month.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be careful with these kind of horses, Brad Cox is an excellent trainer, and obviously the connections will get off, and they're really wanting a winner for the Kentucky Derby. But it just, we've seen it, it's tough. It's tough to win this race and obviously win, in the next May. So I don't know. I mean, he definitely is the most intriguing horse right now, Essential Quality. But all right, so we're day one is over. Where did we stand after day one? Do you have those numbers?
Yeah. So after day one, it was this is why it was very frustrating. We lost $118. So that's where we were after the day one. And again, we had a $553 is what we wagered, and $208 is what we wagered on Friday. So we saved a lot of bullets for Saturday. With Juvenile Day, it's always a little bit hit and miss. So yeah, we're down $118. We're not happy about it, but again, it's a 2-day event, and you can't get too down on yourself. And yeah, you've got bullets left.
And we were frustrated, but we didn't think that. I mean, I certainly was excited for the next day, and and I mean, one race we were so close to cashing huge, and that obviously would have made the 2 days no matter what. One race we still feel like, even looking back at it now, we bet the right horse, just got a little unlucky. And then, two other races, besides the one we cashed, the two other races we just kind of swung and missed, which is going to come and is going to happen in the Breeders' Cup. These races are hard.
Yep.
But so we were down that going into day two. Let's start day two with race 4, the Juvenile or the Affiliate Mare Sprint. And we knew this race was going to be awesome. This was one of the most exciting races that for me going into this race, as far as how fast they were going to go. And Serengeti Empress versus Gamine. Gamine wins by 6 1/4. Just makes us a laugher. Say what you want. I'm not going to sit here and get into the test, the positive tests that she's had in the past or whatever. She was awesome. Serengeti Empress barely holds on for second. Her last career. Her race, she ran a race. You can't say anything about it. She ran sub 22 and sub 45 fractions. I mean, the race or the track was lightning fast on Saturday. We saw Nashville go out there and blaze in race 1. All day there was track records broken. And Magic, you're listening. You probably have the exact number. How many track records were broken on Saturdays? 6.
Yeah.
So we knew that obviously this was an unbelievable performance. But what did you make? Our ticket here was a speech. Gamine, Serengeti Empress, Bell's the one, super or trifecta box. And so we were right here, but we did not profit much.
Yeah, we made $2 on this race, so we were in the black. So there you go. Now we're down 116. So that's how you make up for it. Listen, I really don't regret this bet because we kind of played Gamine a little bit defensively. I think both of us kind of thought, hey, this could come in Serengeti, Speech, Bell's the one, and we could make up everything we lost in one race here, But when Gamine aired, it was kind of like, well, this bet may not break even, especially with Serengeti Empress second. Listen, but the 4th and 5th race, we didn't have strong opinions on. So we just kind of put together, well, hopefully we're right type bets. If you're playing Remington Park on a Thursday, you probably would skip a race like this, but if it's a Breeders' Cup race, you can't really skip it. But a Remington Park Thursday race or even an Aqueduct Thursday race, you probably just skip it completely. It's just one of those things, we were scared of Gamine, so we couldn't play against her. And with her in it, if she won, you knew it wasn't going to pay very much.
And this is one of those that like you said, there's a reason we boxed it because we were afraid of Gamine. We knew that. We also thought that there was a possibility like she could win, or she could finish off the board. And so there's a reason why we boxed, because if Serengeti Empress, even she wins, but you got Bells of One and Speech coming in there, then it pays a little bit better. But there's not a lot of value here. I mean, the Exacta paid $8. The Try paid $13 for 50 cents. So it's like you kind of just like whatever, even if you say, well, we should have bet Gamine to win. Well, I mean, she paid, a little over even money. So there's really not a lot of, I don't have any regrets, I guess is the point I'm making, because we would have had, the only way we would have made money is we said, okay, Gamine, we love her. It was better 100 to win, which we know we wouldn't have done that. And there's no way I would have done that.
Hard to bet Gamine to win when neither of us picked her on top. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Bingo. All right. Yeah. So, that one was, we made money. We moved on to the next race, which was race 5 on Saturday, the turf sprint. And this one was tough. It was hard to see from our viewpoint, but we knew something happened and really just kind of screwed up everything. Glass Slippers wins this race. Just another one of those that an international horse. I like this horse, and I just didn't get to him. And so I was frustrated because I feel like we had this race a little bit. Imprimis was not good. Alexandra was not great on the first spot, but we were all over. Like, Leinster, God Stormy ran okay. But this was another one of those that Wet Your Whistle, the Exacta, Glass Slippers and Wet Your Whistle. Like that, neither one of us were on those two horses, and so it'd been hard to get there.
This is what you bet when you don't have a strong opinion, period.
It was a $12 bet, we knew that.
Yeah, if your bankroll is $553 and you're playing 14 races, this is the race you play $12 on. The
Try paid $1,200,
Yeah.
So obviously
we were never going to get to those horses, and we pretty much knew it. That is a bet. It's called a if I'm right bet. You just throw together some stuff and go, well, hey, if my opinion somehow gets right, at least I get paid, but I'm not spending much here. It was our least favorite race of the whole thing.
Right. And, and the way we bet it was Imprimis, who was like 5 to 1. We knew there was value in all these horses, 5 to 1 and almost 7 to 1 on Alexandra. So we knew there was value in those top picks, and that's why we played it. But like you said, it was a swing and miss type of race. You either hit a home run here or you completely whiff.
And another thing that sucks, as it turned out, there really wasn't a lot of value. All the horses we had took the money. So as the morning lines came in, we're like, oh, okay, this could be okay. This is definitely worth a $12 swing. And then you look up and you got the 4 favorites in a turf sprint. I mean, I knew that would bet. But when I pushed that bet in, I was like, that's not going to cash. I knew it wouldn't cash.
It's one of those bets that like you say, you the day of, you see all our horses getting pounded. It's like, well, that kind of is the exact opposite of why we played this race, because we tried to find value on top. And I still, though, even hindsight, there's no way I would have gotten to those two on top. So not one of those that were like, all right, $12, big deal. We're down a little bit on Saturday, but we move on to the next. And this one was tough too. This was one of the tougher ones. And I want to get your opinion of what you thought of. Obviously, you and I both had Knicks Go on top, and we were dead on at this one. This horse was unbelievable. Went wire to wire and set unbelievable fractions. We tried to play the exacta wheel here. We had Knicks Go on top, and we had a bunch of horses in the second spot. We played a $5 exacta wheel. We had Sharp Samurai, War of Will, Rushy, Complexity, and Owendale. All for the most part, except for Complexity, big prices. And so we're like, okay, Knicks Go. We didn't know exactly how much money he would take, considering Complexity was in the race. But it's like, hey, if we can get Sharp Samurai home, if we can get Owendale, Rushy, one of those horses in second, this exacta at $5 is going to pay huge. And we just got narrowed out by Jesus' team. Sharp Samurai tried to make a run, just got nosed out.
This one hurt. This one hurt bad. This may be my most frustrating one. So we ran 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 9th with the 5 horses underneath. So we were everywhere, and we got nosed out. Jesus' team had a perfect trip and nosed out. Well, I mean, it didn't come down to a nose, but it was very close with Sharp Samurai. Obviously, the Exacta paid 109.80. Obviously, it wasn't going to pay that with Sharp Samurai, but it may have paid like $40, $30, and you've got that times 5. Well, that's a pretty good cash. And again, it's just, that's really frustrating. That was just one of those things. I can't sit here and say, damn it, we should have bet like $50 to win on Knicks Go, because when I look at it, it's like 9-5 probably wasn't good enough price to bet that horse to win. And you might be sitting there thinking right now, well, why would you bet Golden Pal at 4-5 and not Knicks Go at 9-5? Value is all about how you perceive a horse's chances to win that specific race. I thought Golden Pal, the only way he loses is if he falls down. Knicks Go at 9-5.
Knicks Go.
Yeah, it's just like, I couldn't, if he's 5-1, sure, let's go. But at 9-5 against that field, and that the horse has, hadn't won a stakes in like 10 years. It's just like, yeah, it's a little sketchy. We really like him, but it's kind of sketch to bet him hard as a favorite. I actually think we made the right wager here. We got very unlucky. Jesus' team skims up the rail. Sharp Samurai's wide. Sharp Samurai ran a great race, by the way. It's just wide. And again, it kind of felt like the Simply Ravishing or the Juvenile Phillies Turf, where we just kind of got unlucky again.
Yeah, I honestly thought we played this perfectly. Like you said, Sharp Samurai, Complexity, Owendale rounded off those. If you throw out Jesus' team, we're all over it. It's just one of those that we both had the you liked Rushy quite a bit. I liked Sharp Samurai and Owendale quite a bit. And as far as underneath goes, and I mean, we saw the exact. I mean, obviously, with the exact numbers wouldn't have been like you say with a 62-1 in second place, but they would have been good. And we'll talk about why it makes sense to play big exactas sometimes at the Breeders' Cup here in a little bit, because they do cash and they do make a lot of money. So we were dead on. It's just like you say, just got a little unlucky. Jesus' team got the perfect trip. This one was tough. We were right on the finish line watching this one. Knicks Go. When they halfway through the race, we're like, this race is like over in a way. Like Knicks Go is going to finish last, maybe. I mean, this horse is just going incredibly fast. And then about the top of the stretch, you're like, holy shit, this horse is pulling away. So then you start watching all these horses behind him, like can't get one of them up, get one of them up, get one of them up. So this one was tough because we were all over the race and had nothing to show for it.
Yep, it sucked. There's just no other way to put it. And at this point, you kind of got the feeling of, are we going to ever get a break? So then let's go to the 7th race.
I was going to say, nice segue into that one, because my boy, we both, Halter and I had a couple big opinions separate. This was Halterman's big opinion of the Breeders' Cup, and boy, did it help us. Adara was a huge prize, floated up. I mean, this horse, I think, I looked at this horse late in the betting, was like 10 to 12 to 1, somewhere in that range. And this horse floats up to almost 18 to 1, makes a huge run, rushing fall, take zero things away from her. She ran awesome. I mean, this horse really showed why she is who she is. And just the distance got her. Adara runs her down, just incredible race. And Halterman, you were freaking out. We had a win bet on this horse. We had this horse keyed on the trifecta as well, which we unfortunately got unlucky with Harvey's Little Goyle that hurt us there on the try. That would have been sweet to get that one home, the try. But the win bet, a $10 win bet on a 17-80 horse, not bad.
Yeah, it was big. It was big. This was the start of the big turnaround. And Adaria just ran fantastic. So here was kind of the reasoning why we went the way we went. I was just steadfast against Rushing Fall winning the race at that distance, and so Jared liked Terabellum, and I said, that's fine, because I know we're going to get a price on her. I like Adaria, so let's bet them both $10 to win. I wouldn't tell you to bet two horses that are going to be 2 to 1, $10 to win each. But when you're going to get a double-digit odds on both of them, that's when you can do that. That's okay to do. So I felt good about that. Yeah, you mentioned the try. Again, we thought, okay, if we think Adaria or Terabellum can win this race, this try is going to pay astronomical, even if Rushing Fall gets second.
Right.
Because guess what? They're going to be huge prices. And when you get that horse on top, that's a price. Doesn't really matter what comes in underneath. It's worth it. That turned out to be absolutely correct. The 50-cent try paid $850. Of course, we don't have Harvey's Little Girl in third, which sucked, but it is what it is, right? So we decided to play a lot of our bankroll here just because of the opportunities. Again, we just thought that we have strong opinions on horses that can beat Rushing Fall, and if we can do it, we think we can hit this try because I really thought in my mind Rushing Fall, Mean Mary is going to round out second and third, and one of these horses is going to beat them. I really was just really, really confident. Turns out Mean Mary shit the bed a little bit, which sucked. But Jared, my one regret, why didn't we play an exacta here as well? I think this may have been our biggest mistake because we really were confident Rushing Fall was going to run well. We almost could have keyed her in second in an exacta. I think that's one of our biggest mistakes was not playing okay. So if you're looking at our screen, what we did, the $10 to win on Terabellum, $10 to win on Adaria. Then we did a $1 try with Terabellum and Adaria on top of 4 horses in second and third. Then we played another try with Rushing Fall on top.
Right.
That may have been the mistake. Maybe we should have played an exacta instead of another try there.
Yeah, because the thing was there's the pieces of this that went in while we were working on this was, okay, Adaria and Terabellum's prices. I had Rushing Fall. I think I had Terabellum second, Rushing Fall on top, but obviously the price on Terabellum was better. And so it's like those horses I like. You liked Adaria, obviously. So like we can't have those horses win and not cash. So it's like those present good win bets. So we did. And then the trifecta wheel on the first one, the reason we did the second one with Rushing Fall was like we can't have Rushing Fall win the race, which you totally could, and not make anything. And so we're like, we got to get creative. So I agree. Had we just played an exacta with our top, in the one try wheel where we had Terabellum, Adaria, Rushing Fall, and the other one, if we just would have played a trifecta box with those three, or a exacta box, I'm sorry, with those three, I mean, the $1 exacta paid $100, which really was not hard to get to, considering you liked Adaria and I liked Rushing Fall. And in your mind, even if you were playing against Rushing Fall, you probably thought at least that it would be close. Like she would run her race.
I know. Yeah. Looking back, as I prepared for the show, I was like, oh boy, we as good as we did here, and we got us back. We're almost near even after this race. So we're back, right? We're set up last 5 races of the Breeders' Cup.
We had big bullets coming into the last stretch here. So we knew that we were in a good position, but it was a matter of, damn, we were close, We could have been in a position where even if we don't cash another ticket the rest of the day, we're ahead, Now, talk a little bit about, to the people listening, that maybe are like, say they played tries all day. Both days they played tries all day. And they just, and had a situation like we were having when we played our tries where we were just so close. So what's the advantage of, obviously I know the answer, but like, what's the advantage of like mixing in these win bets because it keeps you alive?
Can we round back? Because I have a huge point, but can we round back after race 10 to that question?
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, Let's go to race 8, which was the Breeders' Cup Sprint. This one was, from a feel-good story, was the best race of the day.
No doubt.
Unbelievable. We're both huge Whitmore guys, obviously Oaklawn guys. So seeing Whitmore make his run was just unbelievable. It was like you just knew. It's like, holy shit, he's going to win this race. The way we played this race was a $5 exacta box with CZ, Rocket, Yapon, and Diamond Oops. And honestly, Yapon was awful. But, going into the race, you felt pretty good about it because Nashville, the horse – can we talk a little about that? Because Nashville, the horse that we kind of thought would be in this race, runs in the first race, and he airs. He's unbelievable. So then you're like, well, shit. If they ran up on here, they chose to run this horse here. He's obviously going to be very, very good, and he just was awful. Like, he just was not good, plain and simple. So this one was tough. As much as I love Whitmore, maybe there was a situation if we would have invested a little bit more, we could have got to Whitmore, but this one was tough. I don't know if his form had been so bad. It's easy to say that now. I don't think I would have got there.
First and foremost, I'm with you. So happy that Whitmore won the race. I mean, it was amazing. I've never been so happy for a lost wager, maybe ever. I mean, there is no horse that deserves to win a Breeders' Cup more than Whitmore. An incredible, incredible horse who just keeps on going. We talked about after the race, oh, that was probably his last race. Nope, they're bringing him back. So, I mean, the horse is just a monster. So, congratulations.
Fourth sprint.
Yep.
And he finally gets it done.
Finally gets it done.
And, and the one thing I'm kicking myself about is like, we know he's a classy horse. And
yeah.
And you look at this field and you're like, you get Vekoma out and you don't have a lot in here. I mean, you have like some hopefuls like, Yopon or Diamond, but like Diamond Noobs or whatever. And so you're like, you could make a case where like he could run pretty well. And I know a couple of the guys on the guide threw him in the top 4. So it wasn't like completely crazy that he ran a big race, but that part is the frustrating part that because I'm with you. Like I didn't care about our ticket. I was rooting him home halfway down the stretch. So it'd been nice to have him on there. Yeah,
I didn't even think about it until a couple of days later. And I was like, that was really stupid. That was just a terrible handicap. I should have included him. That was dumb. I think this is the worst. I think this is by far the worst bet we made of the whole Breeders' Cup. We didn't particularly love this race. I think we invested a little too much money. I don't necessarily think the bet was that bad because that's kind of who we liked, but maybe we shouldn't have invested $30. Maybe make a $2 exacta and move on instead of a $5. But yeah, you live and learn. But yeah, Whitmore should have had him in there somewhere. But I still don't know if we hit the wager. Even if we play him. Yeah, I guess we would have because CZ Rocket was second. So yeah, we just screwed that one up.
Yeah, we should have had Whitmore in there just from the class standpoint, considering no one else was in here that was really that good, as far as like kind of what Whitmore has.
Yeah.
Like Diamond Oops. Like I didn't like that pick when I made that pick, but it was just kind of like, whatever. Obviously Vekoma being out kind of screwed things up. But man, Whitmore, this horse, it's time to retire him, right? He did it. Like,
no, they're bringing him back.
No, it's time to retire him, I think. Like,
well, if he were mine, I would, but he's not. So he will be back at Oaklawn, is what they said. So
he's an old war horse, this horse.
Yep.
So yeah, this one I agree. This one was one of those that it lightened the blow a little bit because who won, but you're just kind of like, damn, we really missed on that one. So okay, let's go to the next one, race 9. You see it there on the screen, the mile. Oh boy. Now this one, let's just make this quick because Aiden O'Brien can't win this race, and all of a sudden he has a top 3. He has a try. The try, by the way, paid 50-cent try, paid $4,300. Order of Australia, who needed horses of scratch just to get in the race, wins the race. Circus Maximus was second. Lope Y Fernandez was third. But this was one of those that Digital Age, who you and I both really liked. Uni, I thought Uni ran a pretty good race, really. It was just way too much to do. And in fact, this was not good. This is the point of the day where I was like, all right, it's Monomoy girl. It's her or nothing, because we have to get back on the winning side, because we were just swinging and missing here.
Yeah, this was just, I think we played it right. We invested $12. We kind of said, look, this is just a mess of a race. I picked Digital Age on top, and I kind of like what you said with Diamond Oops the race before. I never felt good about Digital Age once when I picked him. It's just like, he's not a miler. It's not going to work out. I factor this, to be fair, would have been my second pick, and he was disgusting. And you're right. Uni ran okay. He just couldn't get up in time. She's just not quite the same that she was. But listen, that happens. I take nothing away from her. She's an amazing mare, just not quite the same. So listen, we only invested $12. That's the good news. I think we all kind of thought this was going to blow up. So again, much like the Turf Sprint, this was hey, here's a bet in case, in my opinion, is accidentally right here. I'm not going to invest much, but let's try to get it home. And if we get lucky, we'll get a little bit of money back.
I definitely want to give props to some of our listeners and followers, because we had some people that emailed us that, whether it be they're listening to the Magic Mike show, they bought the guide or whatever, but they they were smart enough to take what we had and use their own opinions and kind of mix it together and hit this pick four that paid the pick four paid $4,500 for 50 cents. And they knew, at least, just based off our opinions and kind of what we were saying leading up to the race, this race was tough. And so they went all, right? They just went all, they bought the race. Then you get Monomoy Girl, you get Tarnal, who we both really loved, and then Authentic, which wasn't that hard to get to at least on the multis. Not a hard way to make $4,500 for 50 cents if you just got creative in that first race and you kind of used that. And we had several people email us that said they hit it based off our kind of opinions and what we thought. So it's funny how sometimes you can be dead wrong on our bets, but some people use kind of a way we kind of talked about the race and made it and cashed some big tickets. So that was good. All right, let's go. Did you want to talk the race 10? Did you want to talk about Monomoy Girl?
Yeah.
Right,
Well, go ahead and yeah. So I'll go ahead. Race 10. And this is all credit to you. You gave me credit for Adaria. I'll give you credit for this one, because Monomoy Girl was not my strongest opinion of the Breeders' Cup. And in fact, about 2 or 3 days before picks had to be in, I was on Swiss Skydiver, and I'll give you credit for being like, nah, you are on the wrong horse. So we changed to Monomoy Girl. Originally, my thought is she's a $50 horse based on our budget that we were playing. He said, oh, no, this is my $100 horse. And I said, okay, I'm going to trust you. You're absolutely right. We never had to really sweat this out. She looked like a winner every step of the way. And listen, boom, right there, right? You get $100 quick profit right there. And now, for the first time since Golden Pal, we are in the black with $51. We're ahead $51 going into the last 2 Breeders' Cup races because of this wager.
This was definitely the most jacked up that I got for the 2 days, because I knew how much was on the line just in terms of me bashing Swiss Skydiver and then thinking Monomoy was a lock. And obviously this is our biggest bet of the 2 days. And I really just wanted to get her home. And you're right. You kind of knew it. She was, she doesn't win her races like overly impressive, but you kind of know the whole way in her races that she's going to win, and we talked a little bit about this on the preview show when we were in Lexington. This horse has only been beaten once by one horse in her entire career, not lost or whatever. She literally, one horse in her entire career has finished in front of her. And she just has the will to win. And, and shout out, she sells at the auction the very next day in Keeneland for $9.5 million, and they're bringing her back. She's going to run again. It's amazing. I personally don't think she has anything left to prove, but she's unbelievable, and she just continues to rack up the wins. And I don't know. I knew that this was the opinion I was so strong about for the 2 days. I was like, I've got to press it. You got to press your opinions, and you might be wrong. I mean, say Swiss Skydiver didn't miss the break, and she runs a huge race and beats me. Well, it's like, well, shit, my opinion didn't change. I still thought Monomoy was the best horse. And I think she's the best horse running on the 2 days, or at least the best chance to win on those 2 days, you got to press it. And I'm really glad that we played the 100 to win on her.
All right. So here's what I wanted to go back to your question of why is it important to play win bets. This is really what I wanted to get at right now. Okay. So here we are. We're up $51, which is not great, right? But we've missed so many little tries here or there, or an exacta like in the dirt mile, but we're up $51. Why? Because we bet winners. You have to mix those wins in. You absolutely have to do it. I get emails a lot of times going, well, I'm missing all these tries. It's like, if you're going to commit to just playing tries, you better be ready for losing streaks. You better be ready for days where you don't make any money and you lose money, because it's random results. I mean, a lot of times you handicapped it right. Your picks are really good, but you run 1-3-4 or 1-2-4 or 2-3-4 all day. Well, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. A lot of it's luck. But since you mix in your win bets and you make win bets on your strongest opinion, all of a sudden, instead of going into the last 2 races really in a hole and really chasing, think if we didn't tell you to play any win picks, you may not even bet the 11th race because you're out of money, right? Like right. Say you're down $400 going to the 11th race. Do you have any confidence in playing anything right now? I mean, I wouldn't. I probably would have quit by now. But you got to mix those in to keep you alive. And basically, what they did is pay for all these shots that we were taking. Right? You're building up a bankroll. Now you got 4 or 5, quote unquote, free shots where you're playing with the track's money. Tries and trifectas and exactas to a lower extent, but still to some extent, come down to luck a lot of times. And we have talked this whole show about, boy, we just didn't have any luck with these trifectas. We were close. We just couldn't get one home. But we weren't in a hole. We're sitting with 2 races to go. We're at $51. Is that great? No. But is it better than down 300 or 400? Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, because of the win bets, you look at even with Swiss got ever out of there, the trifecta paid $131 for 50 cents. So it's not like it was an astronomical thing. And I think, this was our 11th straight Breeders' Cup being there. And you just kind of learn after all these years that it takes one race.
Yep.
One race to make the trip essentially a 4-figure, 5-figure day or trip. So we know that, and that's why you take swings. But you also have to keep yourself afloat by playing bets like this and betting heavy on exactas and stuff, which we'll talk about here in a second. You have to kind of mix and mix around the way you bet these horses. Because not all the races are the same. You can't just try every race and just say, well, it's hopefully one of them comes home. Well, you might, even if you hit, there's a situation where you hit 3 or 4 tries of the Breeders' Cup and you still don't make money because they're chalky tries.
That's right. Well, and again, with some of our other win bets that we cashed, we didn't hit the tries, or we wouldn't have hit the tries if we would have tried to play them. With this one, we may have been able to get to that trifecta. But think about, Jared, your strongest opinion in the entire Breeders' Cup. She wins and we missed an exacta or a try.
Right, exactly.
It's just,
I just refuse to do that. Yeah,
it's soul crushing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
that would have been easily the biggest regret we did if we didn't do that.
And this is a mental game more than anything else. And when you have handicapped all year and you've waited all year and your horse wins and you don't cash a penny, it's gonna fuck with you mentally. Sorry, 1:07 and 6 seconds, Jared, for the podcast.
Lucky for you, I don't edit them out anymore. So
good. So you got to stay alive. You got to stay afloat. So anyway, that is my biggest spiel and the thing. If you've listened to this whole show, that's what you need to take away from. To John's question, real quick.
Yeah.
It didn't help her chances. I don't think she was going to beat Monomoy Girl. It didn't help her chances. And you look, she kind of got a little bit of a foot injury with it as well. That certainly didn't help either. When you're trying to beat a high-class horse like Monomoy Girl, everything needs to go right.
Yeah, I mean, and bottom line is, we watched the replay, obviously several times, but that day or that evening when we got back before we did the live feed, we watched the replay because it's hard to see, obviously, being there. And it's like, yeah, I mean, bottom line is, she got in position to make a run and she just didn't have it, And so you can make some excuses for her, but great horses can overcome those. And simply, she just didn't have it. It wasn't a matter of the foot, or wasn't a matter of the campaign finally caught up to her or whatever. It certainly gave me relief. And I hate to say that, but just based off of when she misses the break, you're like, okay, I can stop. It's because she's going to have to be a super freak to beat Monomoy Girl from here, Yeah. And so you kind of stopped watching her and you just watched Monomoy Girl. So, all right, let's move to our definitely the biggest cash we had beside on an exacta here. The biggest cash I think we had of 2 days. Race 11, the Turf. This one was awesome. Tarnal, we both loved Tarnal. We both loved Magical. You look back at this, and I know Magical had to really get going and nose out Channel Maker for that exacta. But when you look at it on paper, it's like, that wasn't hard. That was not hard to get to that exacta. We played a $20 exacta box on these 2 horses, Magical and Tornado. We both felt these horses were the 2 best horses, the 2 fillies of the race, two best horses of the race. And we said it all along that our horses, and props to Channel Maker, he ran a huge race. For half a second, he looked like a winner. We just knew these horses were better. And this race, for a $20 exacta, The $1 exacta paid $18. When I saw the $18 pop up, I thought, times that by 20.
Yeah, this one, other than Zenyatta winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, this is my favorite Breeders' Cup race ever. For a couple of reasons, I'll lay it out. And number one, you laid it out perfectly. We sat there and we were like, listen, it's 2-3 all the freaking way. All the freaking way. We're not going to mess with anything else. These two fillies are better than these other horses, and they're going to kick their ass. And I got to be honest with you, and a lot of it was I was feeling really good after the Monomoy bet that we were in the black. This is the most confident I've been in a bet in a long, long time. And when I saw Tarnawa was 9-2, I was like, we're gonna make a ton of money right now because those odds are just nuts. They're nuts, especially after Adaria just beats Rushing Fall. Tarnawa beat Adaria just one race ago. How is she 9-2 right now? I could not believe it. And the wide range of emotions going into the race were nothing. Like, this is going to be the easiest bet we ever cashed. The emotions watching the race were totally different because I thought, I cannot believe this filly Tarnawa is not going to fire. I can't believe she's not going to fire her race. 3/4 of the way around the track, I was just like, I can't. I know Magical's going to get second here, but I have no idea who's going to win because I can't believe Tarnawa was not going to fire. They turn for home and it's like, really, Channel Maker's going to beat these fillies? It's like, this is unbelievable. One other time that I've been live watching a race that I knew the race was over in one stride, okay? And it was when Pegasus Day, the very first Pegasus, when Arrogant started to make his move. I'll never forget it. I looked at Jared and said, race over, and he was in 5th. One stride, I thought, okay, we got the winner. This is over. I don't have to watch the stretch. She is going to absolutely air, which she did. It was just sweating out Magical getting by Channel Maker, which is a sentence I never thought I would ever say in my life. But thank God she did get up for second. I was very relieved she got for second. I got to tell you, I've thought about turf performances that I've seen live in person. Tarnawa is right up there with Wise Dan the first time he won the Breeders' Cup Mile out at Santa Anita. I thought that was just an amazing performance. And Enable beating Magical in 2018 in this race at Churchill Downs was an amazing performance. Tarnawa was right up there with them. This was breathtaking to watch.
Yeah, throw in that stretch with Goldikova.
Goldikova, sure.
That was, but she always won. You kind of knew she was going to win. But as far, it was, we were positioned kind of right on up a little higher because we had a good viewpoint on the finish. And I look at you. And by the time from the change of me looking at you to my right, looking at the screen, which is right in the middle, and then looking at her in live, like seeing her, all that was like the 3 positions were, holy shit, like Channel Maker's going to win this. To why is she not running? To she's winning. Like she's going to win, and that was all like in a matter of like 4 seconds. You know what I mean? Like it just, like you say, the way when she got going, you're like, there's no way she's listening to this. So then you start watching underneath and watching it live. I honestly thought Channel Maker got us.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like, son of a bitch, like yet again. And so when they showed the replay, it was like, okay, she's got it, and she got a good bob to hold off to get that. But yeah, I mean, what did we end up making on that one?
We made $322 profit on that one race. So we were up $373 after this race for the day, or for the 2 days. So obviously, I wish there was a camera on us because it went from, I cannot believe I was just in shock. Like, I just can't believe this is happening, to, oh my God, I'm partying up here because there's no way Magical's not going to get by Channel Maker. We got this shit. Again, you said it best. We were pretty much smack on the wire for this race. We were up kind of high, but we were right. And I actually was freaking level with that wire. And I looked, see, we didn't get it. She didn't get it. But when you watch the replay, it was pretty clear, So when we saw that, we went back to the screen, watched the slow-mo, and it's like, great, we hit it. Let's just hope it pays. And it paid great for the 2 horses that we thought were locked. So this But this was a situation, again, where we could have got unlucky. And I went back to what I said after we talked about Monomoy Girl. When it comes to exotic wagers, it's just luck a lot of times, guys. It really is. Magical is 30 links better than Channel Maker, but it took her really digging down to catch him on that day. And we just got lucky where we'd been very unlucky, previously. So it kind of leveled out. And then this was our big cash.
This would have been, and thankfully, this would have been one of those instances where, say, we got nosed out by Channel Maker, where we had the winner at a price that paid almost $5 or 5 to 1, and we would have missed it, so that would have been hard to swallow because we both really liked Tornado. We both thought Tornado was better between Tornado and Magical.
And to be fair, I don't think we really thought we would get a 9 to 2 price on either one of these horses. So that's why we did the exacta, right? Because we thought, well, they'll be like 2 to 1 or 2 to 1, 3 to 1 type.
I mean, dude, the thing I don't get is there's way too much hype on that Mogul horse because that horse there's actually the second favorite. Tornado was the third choice, which is just blows your mind. And honestly, I'm the same with you, especially after Adaria. I was like, well, we're definitely not getting prices on these horses because Tornado's got the, like you say, the class with Adaria. So you're like, well, we're definitely, these horses can get pounded. And you kept waiting for that price to go down on Tornado. And you're like, damn. I looked at you. I was like, maybe we should go play a win bet. I'm like, no, let's stick with what's on the guide, because that price. You're like, because nothing changed. I still felt she was the best horse in the race, and shit, that was a hell. That was we made Monomoy number 1, but this race very easily could have been number 1 in our top 14. So all right, let's move to the most uneventful race of the 2 days, which is hard to believe, the Classic. And thankfully we were in a great position here to where we had money to play with. We invested about close to $60 here in this race, and we just pressed our opinions. Tiz the Law, you like Tiz the Law, I like Tom's Dietat. So we played them with Improbable. We played Authentic underneath in that one trifecta wheel. We played him in the third spot. I never would have played him to win in any of these spots. I mean, I guess we could have boxed them. I had Global Campaign in the third spot as well. So we kind of had all the horses, so to speak. We just maybe didn't play we played a tri wheel versus a tri box. But listen, I mean, the tri paid $167.50. I mean, yeah, it would have been pretty good payout. But it's just, this one was, I just never, you would have had to really talk me into Authentic being, as far as, wasting, quote unquote, because he won, wasting on a top spot, because I just didn't think he would win.
Oh, I think bottom line here is we didn't get the 3-year-old right. I mean, if you put Authentic instead of Tiz the Law up there, you cash it, and it's a decent cash, obviously. So that second. That trifecta wheel, Tiz the Law, Tom's Dietat, Improbable, over those same 3 horses, and then over Tassis, By My Standards, Global Campaign, Authentic. That was the bet. That was a really good bet. You structured that bet exactly right, other than the fact that we flipped we gave Tiz. If you flip Authentic and Tiz the Law, I'm saying in that structure, you win. Right. We didn't handicap the 3-year-olds right. I was very confident a 3-year-old was going to win that race. I just thought it'd be Tiz the Law, and halfway through the race, I knew we weren't going to cash anything in this race. We never, in the biggest races, we never handicapped Authentic right at any point. Nope. After the Haskell, he screwed us every time, one way or the other. So it's one of those things. He was an enigma on these big race days. My only regret for this one is I think maybe we got a little caught up in, it's a Classic, we need to invest a lot of money. Maybe we should have trimmed it down to like $40 instead of what did we do?
If you remember, we didn't play that super at first. We added that super last, that was the last one we added. Like, we were just going to play the exacta box and the tri wheel, and then we're like, let's play that super box because it's the Classic, So yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, that one, you get a little caught up with kind of the big race. Do you have any regrets as far as, because Tiz Law goes off as a favorite. So looking at the odds as live odds, and you sit there and look at Authentic being 4-1. And, we talked a lot about this, or I talked a lot about this in the trends piece, where it's like, listen, a lot of times a horse that loses his race prior and around 5-1, bet that horse. And sure enough, Authentic is just lived up to that perfectly.
Yep.
And considering, like you say, we had the wrong 3-year-old, it's very easy to get to Authentic in that situation. I think we both kind of thought Tiz Law would flip the script on him, and he just, we'll talk about the trip in a second, and he just didn't.
No, I knew this is just, I'm kicking myself over this race. I knew I would not, now be fair, I would not have put Authentic on top. So, but I am kicking myself as far as who I picked, because I knew when he drew the 2, he was screwed. I knew it, and I didn't do anything about it. I just was bullish on my opinion, which wasn't that smart. But what are you going to do? I probably would have ended up improbable as the pick, which finishing second is better than what Tiz the Law did, but still, you're not a winner. I just think my biggest regret is just playing $58 here. We probably should have stick to like the $40 range.
The 2 biggest takeaways here, let's call it 3, is that 1, another track record was set by Authentic and beat Bob Baffert's other track record with American Pharoah. But also was that you had Tom Stietot, who was co-third choice, I think, with Authentic. Mm-hmm. Just as flat as hell. Just unbelievably bad. It's that he beat 1 horse. He beat High Power. That's it. So that to me was unbelievable. I never imagined him. You just felt confident that Alstal would get him ready, and you could tell pretty quick, like he's trying. He's trying too hard to kind of run that one. And then I think the other one would be just you just felt like improbable. It was like all over again. It was like Authentic and Tiz Law in the Kentucky Derby, where you just felt like Improbable was going to pass Authentic. Like mm-hmm. you hit the top of the stretch, like Improbable was in perfect position, ran the perfect race, and just couldn't get by Authentic. I mean, this horse, dude, Authentic, he locked up 3-year-old of the year, and he locked up horse of the year. Unbelievable. Authentic is going to be horse of the year.
Yeah, it's incredible. And again, I just never could get him right in the big races, and it's very frustrating. As far as a situation like this in the future for your betting concerns, this was a real challenge for me, this race, from the beginning. Because I just didn't have a strong, and you could see how we structured the try. We had 3 horses on top, where a lot of these other races, we had 2 horses on top. We just didn't ever feel like we had that horse that you could really rely on. You had Tiz the Law, who with a bad post. You had Tom's, it's a big layoff. Improbable, you just couldn't really sink your teeth into really counting on him. That makes it a very difficult race. So I think that was kind of the first number one big problem. And then, you had 3 Bafferts, and you didn't really know before the Breeders' Cup how to handicap any of them. This was just a kind of a mess. And again, it just speaks to the fact that probably shouldn't have invested this much money into it. And if this was not called the Breeders' Cup Classic, we may not have. But it was just, we got kind of caught up in the big race. I don't know what the word is, the big race hype, I guess, of it, and thought we needed to take a swing here. But this was a handicapping challenge for me right from the start. And just didn't get anything right, really.
All right, so I'll just ask you plain and simple. Did Franco cost Tiz the Law the win?
I think he cost Tiz the Law a placing. I don't think he cost him the win. I think it would have been a carbon copy of the Kentucky Derby. I don't think he would have got past Authentic, and I think it's proven, as much as I hate to say it, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes or anything like that, but I think Authentic's a better horse than Tiz the Law. I just think that's how it is. I think Manny Franco deserves the criticism, but if he rushes him up and he's eye to eye with Authentic, like a lot of people suggested, I don't think people would be happy about that either, because I don't think that would have went well. I think the only thing he could have done was rush him up and try to get him clear of those horses on his outside and just sit off Authentic. And at that point, it probably would have been Authentic first, and then Tizalon and Probable are battling for that second and third spot. I think that's the most likely scenario under that situation.
We should have, because Bob Baffert, the only time he ever wins a classic is with a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have leaned on Authentic more, I think. But I don't know. I just felt like you said, he just could not get him right all year long, for the most part, the later half of the year. All right. So the classic. Oh, by the way, Franco's off. John Velasquez is on in the Pegasus. Tis the Law going to the Pegasus. Came out today. And Johnny V gonna ride. So Authentic's gone. Just jump over to Tis the Law. So and imagine if Tis the Law airs in the Pegasus, then you really start to think. It kind of reminds me a little bit, and you and I talked a little bit about we're big Will Take Charge fans, and it reminds me a little bit when Will Take Charge finally got a jockey, and that was Luis Saez. Before Luis Saez was Luis Saez, but we knew he was an up and coming jockey. He kind of emerged as a different horse. And so what do you take from that? Does that have any comparisons for you?
A bit, not as much, because Will Take Charge. I'm not going to get into the Will Take Charge jockey situation. I'm not going to sit here and bash. No, I'm not going to do that.
By the way, shout out to John Court. We saw him.
We did.
Not riding, by the way. But
no. But here's the deal. Here's why Manny deserves to be fired. Okay. And here's why, if I was in their shoes, oh God, it's tough because he's won a lot of big races on him this year. I don't know if I would have fired him or not, but here's the deal. Okay. Everybody knows he doesn't like to be inside of horses. Okay. And I've heard people say, well, he's not a great horse if he has to do this or that. I agree with you.
Right.
It's definitely a flaw, but the jockey knows. He's rode him every single time. So get him outside of horses no matter what you have to do. At that point, I would sit here and say, well, you know what? If he took him up sharply and then got him to the outside and people are complaining, I said, hey, you got to get him outside. If he sends him hard to get him outside of horses, I say, hey, he had to do it. That's how he had to do it. You know, you are the jockey. You know, why are you doing what you're doing? That is my biggest concern. Like, his spot in the race as far as distance from the leader was how he needed to be. But he can't run inside horses.
Right.
So why do you do it? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like Johnny V with Authentic. He needs to be on the lead. Why is he not on the lead in the Preakness? It's crazy. These guys have ridden the horses. They've had success doing the things that the horse likes to do, and then they don't do it. It's unexplainable.
All right, so let's hear the final numbers. Let's hear the ROI. Let's hear the total profit, everything people want to know.
Yeah, okay. So on just Saturday, let me pull that up. There we go. I'm sorry. For Saturday for Friday and Saturday both, we made $313, 54% ROI. So pretty good. If you want to look at just Saturday, we made $431 on Saturday, and ROI over 100%, about 122% ROI. So pretty good. Friday, we made some mistakes, made up for it on Saturday. So $313 in total for profit, and an ROI over 50%, which that's we'll take that any day of the week.
What was the exact number?
$313.
No, with the ROI.
Oh, ROI 54%.
There you go.
ROI. Yeah. So, it was we had $563 bankroll, and we returned $866.
And that was just it. Our goal was obviously to make money here. We did. 54% ROI is nothing.
I'm sorry, 553, not 563. My bad.
It's nothing to be upset about, and we were so close on a bunch. The one, obviously in the dirt mile, with Knicks Go. That was, and we had a few of those that we were just right there and couldn't quite get it home. But that changes 54%. That's $300 profit into a couple thousand profit. So it's just you get a couple breaks. But when you can sit here and say my strongest opinions I was able to cash in on and still make a 54% ROI, and you live to fight another day, so to speak. I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah. So even, you got to think of it like this. Even if you missed even if Channel Maker gets second, let's say, well, you still only lost, it would have been about $50. And it's like, well, just tough luck all the whole weekend, but it's only a $50 loss because we hit some winners. And so, it is what it is. It wouldn't have been great, but anyway, 313 profit. Yeah. And again, you tread water, basically. We tread water the whole way, and then we finally get that one home. So,
yep.
Yep.
Let's see. We had a question. How did this year's BC compare to a couple of years past ROIs?
I believe last year was a little bit better, actually. I think it was more. I can't remember for sure. I'd have to go back and look. I think it was a little bit better, but we played a lot more. This one had more potential for payoffs because last year, if you remember, it was kind of a chalky up top at times at that Breeders' Cup. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in 2017, we had the big $1,200. I think it was a try, maybe. Mm-hmm. We had in 2018, we had a big pick 4. We had a $1,300 one last year. So it's like we lacked the big, massive cashes this year. Like those, we didn't have any 4-digit cashes, which is obviously very easy to do in the Breeders' Cup, but it's at the same time, it's very hard. As we showed this year, but we were able, I mean, like I say, like you're not going to hit them all. If we would have played tries every race, all 2 days, we would have swung and missed. And thankfully we were able to kind of get creative on some of these and make a profit. And at the end of the day, considering what the way we bet it, I really feel good about the 54% ROI. And hopefully, as we saw, we got a lot of emails of people that used the way we bet and structured them just a tad different and cashed in even bigger. So to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. I think 2017 was probably the most, the least amount of stress because we hit like $1,200 on Friday. And then it's like, well, hell, whatever happens on Saturday happens. We're already winners, Right. I could remember 2018 was a bit of a grind. And then 2019, we just never really had an opportunity to cash much big, but we were solid. It was just real solid. This one, it felt like a huge grind to get there. That's why I look back and I'm pretty proud of this one because it was a grind from the start to the 11th race, basically, before we could sit back and go, okay, we're in good shape.
And I'll say it one more time. I feel like we've said it a lot, but every race is different.
Yep.
You have to get creative. You can't force a try. You can't say I'm playing a try every race in the Breeders' Cup to hope I cash big when it literally just doesn't exist. That huge try in that race does not exist. So you have to kind of be able to be flexible. You got to play exacta here and play a win bet here and play a try here and invest heavy on this race and invest light in this race. Sometimes you'll be right. Sometimes you'll be wrong. But the bottom line is I feel like, handicapping and betting are two different animals. And if you can feel good about the way you bet compared to how you handicapped, at the end of the day, it's like, well, you can either have bad handicapping or not, but at least you bet the way you felt. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If we would have bet Monomoy Swiss like $100 exacta, that would have sucked. Because what was the point?
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you want to sit there and play trifectas all day long, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying don't complain when you lose every race because it can happen. Again, we just laid out for an hour and a half the luck that is involved with hitting exactas and trifectas. And listen, you're a nose away, even in the one we hit, from another loss.
Yeah.
You know,
Magical had to run her eyeballs out to get past Channel Maker of all horses.
Yeah. And you're not going to handicap that, you know,
Exactly.
It's just not. So there's a lot of luck involved with the more you go down the line, you know, even wins. Okay. You got to have a little luck. Exactus, you got to have a little more. Trifecta, you got to have a little more. Super, you got to have a little more.
Yep.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't really understand. And another thing that people don't understand, you can make money without hitting trifectas. I
Right.
mean, this is proof of that. It just worked out. You know, we didn't really purposely try to make money without hitting tries. We were trying to hit trifectas, but you don't have to play them every race. And if you do, just be ready to lose, because it's going to happen, you know. But you're playing a game of lose, 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 bam, big one. Lose, lose, bam, big one. If you're playing trifectas and you play 20 of them and you hit 3, that's a very good strike rate for a trifecta.
The best thing you do at the Breeders' Cup is put yourself in position to cash the big one, you know, and let the chips fall as they do. Mm-hmm. But if you feel like you have the right bet, I mean, like we talked about on this pod, like there's several that we maybe wish we would have changed. And there's some that we said, hey, listen, this is bad luck. And this is the way it is. So overall, hell of a Breeders' Cup. The performances were amazing. The horses, for the most part, were amazing. We made money. We made our fans money, so that's awesome. We were there. That was great to actually get out of the house. Hopefully, we'll be at the Pegasus. That's the plan coming up, and that'll be our next big event. And let's hope we can get back to normal somewhat on these racing events, because that sure felt nice traveling.
Yeah, it did. It did. You know, you hear news of a vaccine. You know, I hope it's true, and I hope we're close, and I hope we can get people back out to the track. And I'll say I missed it more than I thought. I will definitely say that. I missed it so much that I'll be at Remington Park Friday night watching Welder go for his 25th win, because it's like I just had too much fun. I got to go back, you know. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, you're right. It's just good to be back to the track, and hopefully you know, more and more places you can go as we go along, and not the opposite, you know.
I mean, you think about it, we were talking about how Golden Pal, you know, winning that his race on Friday, and you kind of you felt the jitters then, you know, and obviously it was the first time we'd watched a live race with that kind of performance, that star power performance, since the Pegasus, you know. And that's just that can't happen, you know. That's just unbelievable. It's right. January to November, and that was like, you know, this never happened. So it was great to be back, and hopefully everyone cashed in big with us at the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, there's something about, you know, watching it on a screen versus seeing that horse do it, you know. It's just different. I can't really describe it.
And no matter if you have 1,000 to win on the horse or you have 5 to win, you still feel that you have something on it, and it gets, you know, us degenerates, we get excited, you know. It's just a feel. Yeah, you get that kind of rush. So I felt it with Golden Pal. Obviously, we kicked things off right there with a win bet, and a big win bet, well, $50 win bet. And so, yeah, you felt it for sure. So,
yeah, in the game, sometimes when you're losing it gets frustrating, but you get that win again, and it's like that's better, or that's worth, like, all this frustration. It's worth it when you get a winner like that. Right. And you're right. It doesn't really matter what you got on it. It's just pick a horse to win, bet a horse to win. Horse wins, looks really good. You get excited.
All right, let me wrap this up. 3, 2, 1. That's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks, our premium selections on our Hangout products page. Click the products link at the main menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. We're currently covering 30 plus tracks, offering free picks. We're on Twitter at racingdudes, Instagram, and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, even the website racingdudes.com. Make sure to go check out the Magic Mike Show. They did the Del Mar Saturday late pick 4. So go check them out on all those same platforms, or on the website at racingdudes.com. How do you feel? Like, what's your, like, because, you know, we do this year round, but obviously the Breeders' Cup is the pinnacle of the year, and we have a little bit of a downtime, so to speak, as we kind of gear up for the 2021 season. Obviously, from the general public, the main eyes come on to the soon-to-be 3-year-olds in the Derby Trail, but obviously we have a few big races left this year. So how are you kind of handling the post Breeders' Cup fallout?
Oh, you know, it hasn't been too bad. I'll be real honest. Monday and Tuesday, I didn't watch a lot, you know, but Churchill's back, Aqueduct's back, Del Mar tomorrow. I mean, I'm not as bad as last year, I guess. For some reason, last year I felt a little more worn out. This year I'm ready to go. I think it's because we ended on that 11th race there, such a high note, that I was excited for more racing. But listen, for me, the hardest 2 weeks probably of the season are the 2 weeks after the Breeders' Cup, because then you get Thanksgiving weekend, which always has pretty good racing. Cigar Mile is the next weekend, which is always pretty good. The week after is never too bad. You got the Springboard Mile and then the races at Los Al the week after. That's kind of fun. Then you got Christmas. And then the day after Christmas, you got the Malibu. And then we're right back into it again. We're looking for 2-year-olds. We're ready for the Pegasus. So
talk a little bit of.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, talk a little bit about the Malibu, because that race, that's a 15th Breeders' Cup race essentially. That is gonna be sweet.
Yeah, it's the Breeders' Cup 3-year-old sprint, basically.
It's the Breeders' Cup sprint, also eligible.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe a horse that would have won the Breeders' Cup sprint. Nashville is pointing for the race, and so Nashville in that race is very exciting. You've got Charlatan, who's rumored to come back for that race. We don't really know what he might be around one turn. Independence Hall, who won Sunday at Del Mar. Really good. Yeah, looked very good.
Former number 1 pick in the fantasy draft too, by the way.
That's right. By this guy right here. They drafted Independence Hall number 1 and drafted Authentic in the 3rd round. So obviously, I don't want to. Obviously, follow me for all of my picks because I know what I'm doing, right? So. That's going to be a good race, and then also Gamine in the the Philly race. That name totally just threw me.
Magic, where are you?
God, Malibu, and I forgot it. I cannot believe that. It's anyway. They have the Malibu at 7 furlongs, and they have the race for the Phillies at 7 furlongs.
If you stall long enough, I can.
That's where Gamine will be running. So yeah, Gamine will probably face a field of like 2, because who's going to want to face her in that race? But then again, the Malibu is going to be off the hook. It's going to be pretty exciting. So you've almost got it. LeBray.
There it is.
It's the LeBray. My goodness.
I just got to it. The LeBray, the San Antonio, the Mathis brothers, the Lady of Shamrock, and the American Oaks are all on that card. 3 grade 1s.
Yep. Could be a good card.
Yeah, it's and then like you say, you turn the calendar, the horses turn 3, and then all systems are go for the Derby Trail. Let's pray to God that we have a May first Saturday in May Derby this year. Let's just pray that happens, because I'm ready to get some sort of normalcy back. But yeah, I mean, that's the way it goes here. We take a little bit of break. Breeders' Cup, you talk about this race you're talking about right now. We locked up a bunch of awards, I feel like, at the Breeders' Cup, so you don't have a lot kind of pending. What would you say? Okay, last question, because this is interesting. I just thought of this. So there's some kind of talk, and mostly because I stirred the pot, but Gamine versus Swiss Skydiver, 3-year-old filly of the year. If Swiss Skydiver obviously is done until she might run, I guess, in the Pegasus. That's kind of the word, but for this year. What if Gamine goes and airs again in LeBray? Like, do you feel like it's like you're kind of getting to the point where, like, listen, I get it. Swiss Skydiver did her thing, but recency and we know how people vote, and winning the Breeders' Cup like she did, then going out and romping in the LeBray, it's gonna be hard to I don't know. I just feel like we're looking in dangerous grounds from a horse that at one point, like 2 weeks ago, was a potential horse of the year. And that's Swiss Skydiver. Mm-hmm. To could even miss the 3-year-old award.
I don't think she'll miss it. I think she's going to get it. But I do like the debate, and I like how you post on Twitter and make everybody mad. I mean, that was my favorite part of the day.
It's too easy.
Way too easy. You guys just jump on it. Like, no, I'm not even into that. But I don't think she'll get it. But I'll tell you what, people that are like, oh, that's just crazy talk. You guys don't realize who votes in this. You really don't. I mean, and that's not a knock on everybody that does, because there's a lot of really smart people that do. There's a lot of people that just don't know anything that vote. And so I think Gamine will get some votes. But I don't think it'll be enough. I think Swiss Skydiver is still pretty much locked into that 3-year-old of the year for the Phillies.
We got one last question came in. I think it's worth
Yeah.
asking. Horse that we're both looking forward to the most to come back next year.
Horse looking forward to the most.
That's a tough one.
There's a lot. I'd probably say Tis the Law, since they kind of come out and said he's going to run the whole year. I would kind of say I think he's the best horse that's coming back. Nick's Go. I don't know what his status is, but if he runs some, he looked awfully good. Tarnawa and Adaria are in training. They're not going to be here. I mean, but we'll get to see him probably Royal Ascot. But yeah, over here in the States, probably Nick's Go.
What about Nashville? Maybe could we have another Matoli on our hands here?
Sure, that's a very good one. Very, very good one. Nashville. He would be very exciting.
Because you have to imagine, even though it blows our mind, but Steve Asmussen does somehow know more than us, and the fact that Nashville didn't run the Breeders' Cup, you have to assume bigger and better things are on the horizon. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they got to have a big picture, a big time campaign coming up for him next year. And so Nashville to me could be a kind of Matoli-esque.
I've got a great idea. Oh, Nick's Go retiring, going to stud, says Magic. Damn. Well, forget him. The Hulkster says Vacoma. He's also retiring. Here you go. May run one last time. Okay, so he might run the Pegasus. So Nashville versus Whitmore in the Count Fleet at Oaklawn.
Sign me up. We'll be there.
Let's do it. I think Nashville's a great answer. Nashville, he's really, really good. So let's go Nashville versus Whitmore. Whitmore at 8 years old, trying to win the Count Fleet for like the 20th time.
And the poor guy would run into another monster in that race. He did it with Matoli, and poor guy ran huge. Whitmore's got to be one of the tougher horses to bet or handicap, for that matter, in all of America, because you just don't know when that horse is going to run a big one. He runs good races most of the time. He throws some stinkers in every once in a while, but as far as winning goes, he's tough. It's hard to kind of have any confidence in that horse.
He not only is he tough to handicap, he's got to be one of the toughest horses we've ever seen. You think of the monsters that they put this horse up against, and he just keeps on running, Like all the time we say, oh, horse X ruined that horse. He was never the same. Whitmore doesn't care. Whitmore doesn't care about anything,
Whitmore has earned over $4.2 million in his career. Yeah. And his campaign has just been surreal. I mean, 38 starts, most of them grade 1s and grade 2s. Mm-hmm. He's a horse that, at one point was you don't very often find a 3-year-old Kentucky Derby 19th place finisher who goes up. Think about that. 19th place in the Kentucky Derby. Yes, he ran in it. From that to winning a Breeders' Cup sprint race, like, what is that? 4 years later? Mm-hmm. It's just surreal. I mean, it really is amazing what this horse has done, and to Moquette for keeping this horse in training. I remember I believe it was his following year, so it had been his 4-year-old year. And this is a good frame of reference for anybody that hears, track reports and rumors around the track. Everyone was telling us, they kind of know people. Whitmore's done. He's done. He's being glued together, basically. Like, this horse, he can't run at all. That was 3.5 years ago, Mm-hmm. So, and look at this horse. So just a true monster. And, just a war horse, really, in every sense of the word. 38 starts, 15 wins, 11 seconds, 3/3, over 4.2 million in earnings. So, you can tell we're kind of fanboys of Whitmore, because it's all, we've seen this horse run so many times.
You talk about him, Kentucky Derby, finished 19th. So this is a 6-furlong sprinter. He finished 3rd in the Arkansas Derby. He finished 2nd in the Rebel, and I'll never forget his Rebel. Go back and look if you've got time. You're messing around in the next couple of days. Not you, Jared, but people listening. The 2016 Rebel. Whitmore is chasing home Cupid, okay? And they get to the top of the stretch, and it looks like Whitmore is going to win by 12. He is just flying. And all of a sudden, he hits that wall because it's a mile 16th race, and he can't go that far. And I mean, he just hit a wall. Cupid wins, but that horse just tried and held his ground and got second. I mean, he's just awesome. He's a very, very tough horse.
What's amazing is that day in the same race, he beats Creator, who wins the Belmont that year.
Yep.
You know, obviously a horse that, you know, can run in, you know, any distance. At that time he could. So yeah, just a true war horse that can run in all those distances. And you don't often hear about horses that are running so poorly at those distances that then cut back and then continue to run for this long. So it's a pretty amazing story, Whitmore, to do what he's done. So, all right. I think that wraps everything up. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and listening to this pod. If you're listening to after the fact, remember you can listen to us live when we do these shows on Thursdays on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Go check out the Magic Mike Show again. Like I mentioned, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.